Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. We're doing kind of a series of these lunch and learns with different folks. We've had multiple options for people to hop on. It's been a while since we've done an update. I'm Colleen Dipple. I'm the founder and executive director, CEO of Families Empowered. I've been here for 14 years, very proud to have served thousands of families. And I am really, really glad to have Dr. Tahila Brown now joining our team as the Chief Program Officer. I'm going to kick us off, and then she's just going to take the wheel, which is going to be great. After 2 months, she's ready to take the wheel. It tells you how awesome she is. So Families Empowered, our vision is that all families will have access to schools that work for them. What that really means is that we believe in and trust families to make good decisions for their children. We provide families with information that's accurate, that they are able to take action on. We provide them with services and tools and opportunities to do some research, find and apply to schools we work with. We partner with schools that are very diverse, and we do not take a position on what is best for other people's children. So we work with district schools and charter schools and private schools and the Texas Homeschool Coalition. And we have worked in other states with micro schools. And we've just seen parents make really great decisions that are very loving, and often they just need a little bit of support. It's not a lot. We're not case managers. We're not matching people. We're just essentially helping people find options and then understand the different rules associated with applying to and then enrolling in those options. So a little bit about who we serve. 70% of the families we serve are Spanish speaking. That is because we have a full-time call center based in Houston that is the only one in Texas providing free bilingual service to families looking for schools. And since we are a non-for-profit and non-governmental, we're a pretty safe agency for people to come and feel like they can ask questions. And we're really proud of the fact that all of our callers are bilingual. Our call center representatives provide trustworthy, non-judgmental service to families year-round. 79% of the families we serve are families of color, and 47% are generally living on about $50,000 a year or less. So we serve anyone, right? So if families come to us from Highland Park or they come to us from River Oaks, we're happy to have them attend an event or call us, because parents are parents. But we direct our marketing resources and our communication resources and our philanthropy to reach folks who we say are traditionally under-resourced. So they often will, lack access, transportation, financial resources, but more importantly, time. Time is a real opportunity and a resource that, is hard to have if you're working 2 or 3 jobs. If you're juggling, children, full-time work, and a whole host of other things. And so we close the opportunity gap by providing service and support to folks who, have limited opportunities, largely because of time, information, privilege, access. So we do a lot of communications. Tahila's going to talk a little bit more about that, but we do a ton of communications in multiple ways. We say we meet parents where they are. And different people have different preferences for how they want us to communicate with them and to serve them. And so we try to have diverse ways in which we communicate. But we have had some incredible media. Last year, we had 24 media mentions, and we had a reach of over 16 million families across mostly Texas, but also some other states. And we've served close to 117,000 Texans. And well, actually, a few of those folks are from Arizona, but mostly Texans. And we're incredibly proud of that. And that is about 142,000, as you can see, students. So our core customers are parents, but those parents are acting on behalf of their children who are students. And so, Ayla, would you mind just moving? I'm going to just turn this whole programmatic update over to our new chief program officer, who's pretty phenomenal. She's been here for 2 months and already she's able to kind of lead us through what we're doing. And so we're just thrilled to have her expertise. And I'm going to she's going to drive the rest of this bus, and I'm going to sit back and feel a lot of gratitude for her having joined our team.
Well, thank you, Colleen. I am, again, Colleen has said, I'm the Chief Program Officer, brand new. My name is Tahila Brown, and I am honored to be part of an organization that is so forward-thinking, but also a part of an amazing team here at Families Empowered. I am, a little bit about me, I am a very recent Baylor University graduate. So this time last year, I was a zombie and didn't quite know if I was going to make it through the dissertation phase. But luckily I did, and was awarded my doctorate degree in learning and organizational change. My undergrad as well as my master's degree are both in education. So I have a very long-standing relationship and work history in education. It's my passion, always has been, and I knew that's where I would land. I have worked in for-profit as well as nonprofit education for almost over 20 years. And I actually began as a kindergarten teacher with a very extensive background in early childhood education. So I really get it with parents making that first choice for their very first education setting and the implications that that choice has on future education successes for children. Coming to Families Empowered was almost a no-brainer when I saw the opportunity. More importantly, when I read the mission. The mission just completely aligns with my personal philosophy of education, as well as my experiences with my own children in education. I am a mother of 2. I have 2 daughters, a 15-year-old and as well as a 10-year-old. The 10-year-old is dyslexic. And so understanding what her needs were and how to find the environment to meet those needs was critical for me. And I know as an educator how that was an advantage to me because I was aware of the choices. The families that we serve, however, may not have that information, excuse me, or understand that that is a possibility for them in choosing the educational settings for their children. So that marriage of the mission here and my personal passions of education just really fit at the time, and it was good timing and a great opportunity that I, of course, seized. So I'm very happy to be here. As we move forward, we are really looking forward to continuing our stellar parent engagement. Since the inception of the organization, the parent engagement and customer service has been top-notch, and we want to continue that. Additionally, we want to extend our reach. So we're already reaching, as you'll see in the next slides, millions of families, actually. We want to do more. So we really want to expand our reach. And then lastly, we just want to tighten up some things here with our operations and logistics so that we can be more forward-facing and share those great stories that of the work that's being done here at Families Empowered. Great. So our agenda for today, we know we don't have you long. I'm going to provide the 2020 wrap up for you and kind of talk you through some numbers and the great things and the great work that has occurred. We'll talk about what's new, and then we'll also have question and answers. So if you have questions, we encourage you to put those in the chat. Our team member, Ayla, wave your hand, Ayla. Ayla is our Director of Marketing Communication. She is actually manning the chat for us. So feel free, if you have questions as we're going along, to place your questions in the chat. Okay, let's start with where we were for last year and the great work that has been done for Families Empowered. What stands out to me, of course, with this slide is 100,000 families. So we have reached a lot of families in a lot of different capacities. We've had 55,000, more than 55,000 visitors to our Families Empowered website. We've had 4 in-person events, which is traditionally our school fairs, and we've served over 9,000 families in those events. Our calling campaigns, our text messaging campaigns with parents, we've reached over 440,000 parents in that space. So we are definitely extending our reach with families.
Can I just jump in?
You absolutely can.
So when I look at that 400,000 number rounding down, it's just stunning because there is no other free bilingual call center in Texas providing direct service to families looking for K-12 schools. And
Mhm.
it's stunning to me that we have made that many, like we have sent that amount of information and made that many connections with families. I have to say our communications team is doing a great job. They're small but mighty and very focused on customer service. So I just get blown away when I see that.
Okay.
I'm going to leave that.
No, you're fine.
I love
Feel
it.
free to
I
jump
love
in.
it. It's shocking to me almost. Like, did we do that?
We're going to take a walk just through quickly regionally what this looks like. So we primarily serve 4 regions here in Houston: San Antonio, Austin, and Tarrant County. Ayla is also going to put these sheets in the slides in the chat for you. So if you want to go back later and look at these in detail, you're more than welcome to. But it really breaks down the numbers per the regions. So this is the Austin programmatic communications overview. And just automatically as a standout, you'll see that we've sent over 34,000 emails to Austin families. And the content of those emails is going to be exposure to different schools and schools choice and really bringing those to the doorsteps of the families. 18,382 text messages. So quite a bit of engagement, as I said before at the beginning, engaging the families. And if we take a quick walk over to Houston, where we are now, 315,786 text messages sent to families. So the reach is pretty extensive. Same numbers in looking at the number of emails that we send in providing that school choice information to families. We're going to take another jump over to our San Antonio programmatic and communications overview. And we're at 52,000 text messages last year that were sent to San Antonio families, and then over 80,000 emails that were sent. In each of these communications overviews, you'll also see the social media engagement and footprint in there and those numbers, just to kind of give you a bigger idea of the reach and the different mediums of the reach.
What's interesting about this to me too is that we've done events in all of these regions, and San Antonio, we had the largest event we've had this year in San Antonio, right? And we also had an event at the zoo in Houston, but it's really interesting to see that different regions almost have different kind of needs, which makes sense. They're kind of like unique, and everyone who lives in Texas knows, like, Austin's weird, San Antonio, it's not weird, but there's like culture within culture. And so we see how we can meet people, again, as I said at the beginning, where they're at, by really kind of seeing what they respond to and then doing more or less in those regions. So this is always fun for me to look at, like, programmatically, how did the parents respond to the opportunities we gave them?
And again, this information is provided for you in the chat, so feel free to dive in there as well. And then lastly, our footprint in Tarrant County, over 3,000 text messages, and then over 4,000 emails. And then we actually had 2 community-driven school connection events in Tarrant County this past school year. In our partnerships in all 4 of the counties, this slide just kind of gives you some information on ways to kind of partner with Families Empowerment, or how schools partner with us. We have what we call our Apply Partnerships, which is a year-long partnership with schools that provides enrollment and family outreach for the schools in various mediums that you saw on the previous slide. So it could be a text messaging campaign, a calling campaign, emails, or it could actually be some interaction on Facebook through Facebook Lives to get that school exposure. We also have enrollment, just normal enrollment support and parent outreach that happens ongoing. Oftentimes schools may open a new classroom, a new grade level, and require some help in getting the word out about their schools. In addition, we also have opportunities for schools to provide some work with them in district surveys or charter application surveys as well. The district surveys are important in just districts understanding that parents have a voice. So we want to open up that exchange of information so that districts understand what parents are saying about their schools as well. School fair events are also a way that we partner with schools as well as our community partners in hosting events or co-hosting events. And then, of course, as I've mentioned before, we do have the year-round calling center, bilingual, and that happens all year, every year. I saved the middle for last because we have several pre-kinder and kinder fairs coming up. We have one in Houston that will be on June 3rd. We are taking registrations for it now. So if you are interested, or if you know someone that's interested and has some open seats for pre-K or kinder, we invite them to come and email us and get information that will fill up pretty quickly. We will also have a pre-K and kinder fair in Tarrant County on July 29th. And then the pre-K and kinder fairs in San Antonio and Austin are to be determined and upcoming. Anything you want to add on the partner?
No, I mean, I think it's just important to note that we partner with schools in service to families, right? So our core customers are parents, but we work really hard, and Tahila and the program team are working really hard to make sure that the schools that we are working with are diverse and represent sort of every sector. So we don't take a preference on whether it's a district school or a charter school or a private school or a homeschool. And so, you know, in a lot of cases, we have in Fort Worth ISD is a very big apply partner, right? And at a fair, you'll have HISD and Harmony there, and we'll have the Archdiocese that will also be there, or private pre-Ks, private high schools. And we're really proud of that because we feel like we all know children are unique. And as you started with, those of us who are parents or teachers or have worked with children know, one size does not fit all. And so we work really, really hard to make sure that we have strong, diverse school and community partners who we work with. And so to the extent that you all are interested in learning more about that, please reach out. Great.
Okay.
Lots going on.
Lots going on. And we have a lot more coming. So we are really going into the lab this summer and working in the summer to prepare for a really growing enrollment season. But some of the things to look forward to in 2023, again, as I stated at the top of the Lunch and Learn, we are looking into growing our families and our partnerships, and then our social media footprint as well. We also will be supporting new organizations in Florida and Arizona, and Colleen will provide some more detailed information about that. And then we're looking also just to continue to provide a bigger bank and service for a greater range of options for schooling choice for our families. So that could include micro schools that are up and coming, homeschools, districts, redesigns, new charters. As Colleen said, we're very unbiased in how we provide information for families. So we want to keep that flowing. I think you're up.
Okay. Hard to follow the good stuff. So we are really in a unique position of having the largest parent service organization of our kind as a non-for-profit in the country. And one of the only ones in Texas that is across multiple regions. And so other states have started to come to us, and before COVID, we had friends in Arizona, actually community partners in Arizona and Tucson, say, we really, we need Families Empowered. And we said, okay, but do you really? And right before the lockdowns happened, the shutdowns, I think 2 weeks prior, our last team trip was to Tucson. And then about a week later, we were like, oh, we should not have all been on that plane. And we thought that, that was going to be sort of a dead project. And about 6 months in, they called and said, look, we think we still want to make this work. And we just plugged away remotely. And then it gave us a little bit of time. And last year, we very quietly launched in Tucson. And at the same time, in 2021, we had some folks from Tampa call and say, we have a lot of school choice in Florida. We have lots of options. And we think that our lowest income families, our most under-resourced families, could be the people least likely to take advantage, because there's just so many options and it's chaotic. And so we, at that point, said, okay, we have some big picture questions about how we want to operate and how we want to potentially expand. And there was this question, do we want to expand in other states or not? And we had the good fortune of really having pressure tested this in Arizona and built some really strong relationships with people there. And we did some modeling and talked to our board. And what we decided is, if we believe in people, if we believe in bottom-up community voice and that really mattering, rather than our going and replicating Families Empowered in other states and running those organizations and telling those people what they ought to do in their communities, what we would do is leverage our infrastructure, our experience, that parents don't know who we are in these other states. What they do know is that they're looking for schools that work for them. And so we said, we will help you incubate a local organization that can do the kind of work we're doing and provide the kind of neutral, unbiased, respectful service to families that we provide. But you all will have to get your own boards, and you will have to raise your own money, and you will have to decide what's best for your community and your parents, because you know your community is best. And we will support you. We will provide potentially infrastructure and guidance. And so what we've done is we've launched sort of a year-long incubator that will allow people to basically create their own school navigator organizations. And in this case of Arizona, we're working with a group that's going to essentially take the ball that we started and run with it. So we'll be handing off that baton, and there is a to be determined. We're not going to steal their thunder, but there is a new organization with a new name and an executive director and an Arizona-based board. And, that really aligns for us with our values of just this was never, when I founded this organization, we didn't found it to be everywhere. I founded this to solve a local problem. As Jill explained, she's a mom, I'm a mom, I had 2 kids, and I was a former HISD teacher and a charter school teacher in Houston. And my question was, so what happens? I had just started looking for kindergarten for my own son. I was like, what do people do who don't have the time and the expertise, having been a teacher, to understand how to navigate these options? And now I'm facing college. I have an 18-year-old who's applying for colleges, and it's the same problem, right? Which is, there's lots of great choices, but there's also constraints, and there's also applications and deadlines and early decision and early action and the FAFSA and this and that. And it's really high stakes, because I love my kids. I love my son. I want him to end up in a place that's a right fit for him. That's how people feel about their pre-K kids and they're middle schoolers. And that is across zip code, region, and the more personalized the services. So having that personal college counselor is such a benefit to that rising senior. What we're providing is personalized service. And we know Texas pretty well. And even as I said before, within Texas, there's regional differences. And we have staff who are remote, who are not all based in Houston for that reason. But we think people in Tampa probably know Tampa better than we do. And we think people in Phoenix and Tucson probably know Arizona better than we do, especially the dry heat. I was like,
sure.
oh, the dry heat. I like the humidity when I go there. So that's our plan. And we hope that we can impact hundreds of thousands more deserving families by being role models and providing some infrastructure support. So we are excited to help launch other organizations in other states, and that's a big part of what we're going to be exploring. Great. So
this is your show from here into the end.
All righty then. So how are we funded, right? So that's a big question. We just want to do an overview. Pretty proud. We have raised over last year, in the last fiscal year, $1.6 million, which is a really big deal. Very proud of that. We have very diverse funding models. So we are non-governmental. We rely on individuals, foundations, corporations, earned revenue, and in-kind giving. So we don't have one primary source of funding, which is really helpful because it allows us to stay incredibly neutral and focused on parents as customers. We have had events. So that's a picture of us we had event at River Oaks Country Club. Every other year we do kind of a big luncheon. But we've had then in the off years, we have these super fun events. One was at St. Arnold's and then followed by the luncheon. And next year, I'm not going to reveal it now. I'll save that for last, but we're going to have a equally really, really fun evening event that's not middle of the day lunch, but more, kind of whimsical. We've phenomenal corporate sponsors that, again, represent different industries and different kinds of interests, right? So we're pretty proud of those corporate sponsors and incredibly grateful to them because they make our work possible. And they're really unique. And I think all of them are very invested in what we do and our families and believe in our mission. All right. So that's the big wind up for our really fun Turquoise and Tequila event, which will be on November 9th at the Armadillo Palace. So for those of you who live in Houston, it's on Kirby and really kind of 59. It's a blast. There's a big disco ball style mirrored armadillo out front and a very cool space in the back. We're going to have some live entertainment, which is really unique. And obviously tequila and tasty treats. And anyone who's been to a Good Company establishment knows the food is always phenomenal. So we hope to have you all there. We have sponsorships available, underwriting available, and we will have ticket sales that will be great. And this is going to be just a fun event where we can share a little bit about our mission and our work and service to families, but also have a lot of fun and thank our supporters. So we're pretty excited about this. It's not going to be stuffy. It is not going to be a stuffy event. Ways to get involved. So we did a similar lunch and learn. We're kind of on the circuit, and Tahila will be hitting the road and visiting our regions. But this is really for supporters, partners, community folks. We're always looking for volunteers. Some of our sponsors provide great volunteers. Obviously, donations, in-kind giving, and partnering. So we have, we've worked with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, PJS, Professional Janitorial Services. We've worked with all kinds of different civic organizations, community organizations, and folks that work with children. So if you are working with an organization that's invested in the kids and families that I described at the beginning, who we direct our services to, there are lots of ways to partner with us. And we have had creative people. We've had tutoring folks say, we want to donate tutoring time to families, or how can we let families who are working with us know about you? People working in juvenile justice who are like, you know what? We want families coming out of the juvenile justice system. We had someone in Fort Worth who was like working with foster families, who's like, this is a really great service to provide to families who are working with foster care kids. So if you are working with, especially the families that we're directing our resources to, reach out. We can be creative, but we're free service to families. The information, for those who are interested in providing financial resources and support, or getting involved in an event, or volunteering their time, Deanna Schaefer, she can smile and wave. She's got the pretty flowers behind her. And Lexi Ashbury, they are on here. And if you have programmatic interest in partnering with us, please, please, please reach out to Dr. Brown, who is really crushing it, kind of getting in touch with all of our partners across the state, but we really want to add some new people to the mix. So
For sure.
I think that's it. That's our lunch and learn. We
That is.
took up 30 minutes of your time talking, and it looks like there's 15 comments in the chat. So would love to look at.
Yes, and I would love to hop in. We had a couple of questions about a flyer for the fair on the 3rd, the pre-K event. That flyer is in the chat. I am super excited to also, I'll just throw it on the screen real quick so you can see it. But also please feel free to download it from the chat. It is in there. This is what we're looking at. Registration for families will open up tomorrow, although RSVPs are not going to be required. Welcome all, whether or not you RSVP in advance. And then schools and providers can still register to Hilla. Correct me if I'm wrong. I see you nodding, so I think I'm correct about that. And that link is also in the chat if you have an organization or a school that would like to participate.
Are there any other questions? This is about how long our.
Yep, we're running quite on time.
We are. We're really grateful that you have given up your lunchtime for us. We know that these were very popular during the COVID time, and some of us are, it's almost like triggering and traumatic to be on a group screen again, because we're all so happy to be back in person. But this is very effective, and for people in Houston right now, the weather is quite bad. So so this is really, we think, a great way to provide updates, and we know you have valuable time, and you know it really means a lot that you took 40 minutes out of your day to learn more about our work and to meet our team and to consider ways to be involved in our mission and service. So thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you. And Jasmine, I'm just seeing your Sikkim in the chat, Sikkim Bears.
Yes.